Yo, yo, we're live in New York City. It's Kevin Kenny, the Build series, and the guest today that is about to join me on this very stage is a Grammy-nominated artist who put out one of the best rap albums you're really ever going to hear, entitled Eve, earlier this year. Please let's make some noise for our guest, Rapsody.
How y'all doing?
Before I give you all the praise that I'm about to give you, I gotta tell the audience how ill you are. We're taking photos in the back, right? And the Build before us had Chadwick Boseman on Build. I don't know if you guys were here for that. And he was leaving, and you were about to take your photos, Rapsody, and he biggest U-turn I ever seen somebody make. He's like, that's Rapsody over there? And then you guys took some pictures. That was the first time you ever met Chadwick.
First time I ever met him. Of course, I'm a fan, you know, like everybody else, of the art he creates and how he tells the stories, you know, for us. So, you know, to have a chance to finally tell him, like, you know, I appreciate him and to know that he listens, like, that's ill. He was like, I listen to you every day. And I'm like, word? Like, that's me. So that's really dope, man. It's always dope to receive love, but to be able to give it back too. So crazy.
I mean, that's got to be happening to you more and more after Eve's been out. I mean, you know, you are already Grammy nominated heading into this record, but this is really, I mean, when I said it at the top, I'm not just trying to be nice to the guest. Like, this is one of the best rap albums you're ever going to hear, no matter what. I mean, this is really just like, it's, I mean, I could go into it, but it's just so dense. It's the lyrics, the sonics of it. But who's been somebody like super unexpected that just surprised you? Is Chadwick at the top, or is there, like, give me another example?
He's at the top.
Yeah.
For real. He's at the top. I think one of the biggest things for me is when I put it out and some of the women I named songs after hit me, like Whoopi Goldberg. Like,
really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
How does Whoopi hit you? She call you up? She sent an email?
Nah, she sent her assistant to send an email.
Yeah.
But the message was received. She sent me some chocolates, though.
Okay.
They were very, very gourmet chocolates, too.
Rich chocolate.
Rich chocolate. They had, like, little paint designs on them. I was like, can I eat this? You know? I had them in the refrigerator for about 3 days. I was like, I don't know if I want to touch it. You know, Iman, she hit me. Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks asked to meet me in a hotel in New York. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I think those were like some of the biggest ones. Like, even though I named songs after, you never know, like, if people are gonna listen, and because I honored them in that way, for them to be like, thank you, like, that was the biggest thing for me.
How early on, coming off the last record, did it become clear to you that this was the concept you wanted to run with, honoring role models and female role models for you?
It was probably a year later, right after I released Layla's Wisdom. I don't usually write for like 3 or 4 months after I do an album.
Purposely?
I think it's just because when I finish an album at the time, and I record so much, like for Layla's Wisdom, I worked on that for 2 years. I recorded, I don't know how many, like 100 songs. So I had said everything that I felt like I could say, so I had to go live a little bit, you know, just to be inspired more to write. So after every project, it takes me about 3 or 4 months to kind of get inspired again and figure out like where I want to go. But, you know, I was doing songs here and there, and it took about a year because I did an interview, and based on the interview that I was doing, that's where the concept came from. Like, I was doing an interview, and they were tracing the lineage of North Carolina musicians. So they connected Nina Simone and Roberta Flack to me. And I was just like, yo, I never really thought about the family tree, like, and that I could be connected to them. And that just got my wheels turning, like, well, yo, like, I'm also inspired by Felicia Rashad, and I love Nikki Giovanni, and of course Lauryn Hill. So I just started doing songs based on, you know, how these different women inspire me in different ways, and created, like, you know, different sides of me too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Well, not only that, but think about how many, like, whether it's historical figures or references that we can probably both look back on and go, oh, I learned about that in a rap song.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I didn't learn about that in a book or school. Maybe eventually I did, but like, you'd be, you know, I don't know, in history class or something, like, oh wait, that's like that Fuji song, or that's like that, you know, whatever.
Exactly. And even stuff like you can't even learn in school. Like, I remember, you remember when Oprah was coming at hip hop that time?
Yeah.
And she had Common on, and Common was like, you know, hip hop has taught me so much about God, relationships, you know, Black history, other than the 5 people that we learned about in school. So, you know, this was also a way for me to, like, turn people onto a Afeni Shakur or Ibtihaj Muhammad, who's newer, you know, or, you know, even like a Whoopi, because there's some kids who may not know, they know Whoopi from The View, but they don't know Jumpin' Jack Whoopi, and Whoopi from The Ghost, and Sister Act Whoopi, and Color Purple Whoopi. So it's just, you know, a way to extend their names and legacies.
Yeah, it's super cool. You said something just now that I wanted to ask you about, where you said that, you know, you usually take those breaks after albums because you've said everything that you want to say. And you're someone that's super rare in the game right now, just given the current landscape of Dre just alluded to it and kind of commented on it, where it's really quantity over quality a lot in some people's eyes these days. And I think that's not just on the artist, I think it's on the industry. I think a lot of these, labels or what have you, they want just more and more. Every new Music Friday, we got to have a track out. Do you ever feel the urge, or how do you fight the urge to say things when you don't have anything to say?
I think for me, like in the beginning, I put so much music out, like mixtape after mixtape. That was like those development years. I was probably putting out projects every 3 months, But once you build a solid foundation where your fans get to know who you are and know what kind of music you make, they really buy into you. And it's just like, okay, you feel like a lot of people continually put out music because their things are microwavable, so you consistently have to feed people. But if you're putting out steak and potatoes, that's gonna sit on you a little while. Like, I ain't hungry for a little bit. So, when you have artists, that you can trust to put out dope music, you allow them time to really go create because it's gonna be worth the wait. And that's kind of what I built my career on. It's just like, at this point, my fans don't mind waiting for me because they know, I'm gonna try to deliver the best project that I can. That hopefully the replay value, they don't get tired of it quick. Like, it's funny, people, it'll be like 4 or 5 months, they'll be like, I'm still bumping that Eve. And in my mind, based on how I grew up, I'm just like, it's only been 5 months. I hope you ain't tired of me yet. But it just goes to show, like, if you don't make the steak and potatoes, you constantly have to feed your fans.
I chip out on that too, where like I'll get sick of a song after like by next New Music Friday, I'm like sick of last Friday's music, and it's like, dude, we used to sit with CDs for like school years.
School years, like a whole year with a project, sometimes a year and a half. Like, and that's so crazy where, kids nowadays, there have been sometimes I put out projects and it'll be like 7 days. They'll be like, all right, when's the next one? And I'd be so confused, like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So, it's just a different day and age. Like, you look at social media and the things that, we process. Like, I can go on Instagram, right? And I'll be up there and I'll be like, dang, I want to go back to something I saw. And when I'm going back trying to find it, I'm like, I've seen all these posts. Like, how has my brain consumed all that information in that short bit of time? And it's just like, yo, that's crazy.
It's crazy. And I feel like, because of how busy it is, how noisy it is, people do all sorts of things for attention. Do you feel like you are, like, your music is so dense? Let's take the steak and potatoes analogy, right? It's so dense and it's so nourishing, and there's so much to sort of devour there, and you're so good at rapping, you're so good at lyrics. Do you feel like that at times that it's almost not holds you back, but do you think people use it against you sometimes, try to pigeonhole you as like, well, because you're so good at something that's all you can do?
Oh, definitely. And I think that's specifically for this project why I wanted to experiment more and show that I do have range, because it's like, oh, we expect you to do boom bap, we expect you to be super dense, but can you make music that's a vibe, that's fun? And it's just like, I can really do anything I want to do. So it's just like, it allows me to be creative and still at the core be who I am, but also show like, my lane is my lane, but it's wider than you think it is. But yeah, people like to pigeonhole me a lot, know. But you speak through the art.
Right.
So.
You seem to be in such a place of zen with all this. I mean, I feel like there's no nerves. You were talking to the Breakfast Club, and you were saying that focusing on things you don't like is just a total waste of time, which is of course true. But I think, especially as an artist and especially as an MC, where it's just so competitive in the world of hip hop, people are always comparing each other to everybody. How did you reach that place where you're really not paying mind to like how trash something you're not into is, or you're just focusing on you, and you are so focused? How'd you reach that place?
Man, it took some time and some work. Believe me, there were days like you want to be bitter, and it's just like, yo, I think just learning and my circle, like being under Ninth Wonder, and those days where it got hard and trying, he just really help me focus on what's important, and what we do with our energy sometimes. So, we just had those conversations, and it just helped me grow as a person and be like, why am I upset and being bitter? Because I'm trying to get the same 10 million fans that everybody else is trying to get, instead of focusing on maybe the 200,000 that I have and being thankful with that, because they're my 200,000. They're going to be with me forever. So, be happy with that. Like, everybody trying to chase the same thing. We're not all supposed to have the same path, and everybody's not supposed to like your music. So I think coming and understanding that just really opened my mind to look at things in a whole different way, you know? Because a lot of times we get caught up in the rat race when we really don't need to be there, and you lose sight of what's really important at the end of the day.
Distracted.
Very
That's all it is out
distractive.
there, right?
Right.
Distractions. I know Kendrick, you said in past interviews, somebody you just always go to for advice. And I don't know if it's in regards to what we're talking about right now, but can you point to something that advice from Kendrick that you feel paid you the biggest return over your career? Of just something that you're like, wow.
Man, he's given me so much. I think with that, I hit him that I could share. I hit him one day asking, like, yo, how do you deal with the situation of, people giving you your just due and respect? And his advice was, you just, you play the game and you understand, like, there's no point in being emotional or bitter about it. You know, do what you can, whatever comes from it, build off of that, and trust your art. He's also given me advice, kind of regarding what to do, like when you reach a certain status of celebrity and how to handle that. And, being available for everybody when they need you or when you can't be, and being okay with saying no. He's like, the crazy thing is you have to be humble enough to say yes and strong enough to say no, and finding that balance. And that was probably one of the most powerful things, that he's told me. But, it's been so much. Like, I hit him for a lot of advice. But those are probably the two that I can share.
Yeah, that you can point to for sure. Do you go to like a Jay for advice ever? Just being out with Rock Nation?
No.
No?
And that's crazy. Most people I ask advice all the time, but I've studied Jay so much in the music.
You know the
I feel like I know the answers already. Like, he really gave the blueprint. But we email about, just things that are happening, in the culture that, we might converse about or business. But, naturally, I'm like, I really don't have nothing to ask you because it's like especially 444 is like, all right, that's even more.
I mean, I don't even think he gets credit. He gets a lot of credit, and rightfully so. But I don't even think he gets the credit for, like, I remember being right out of college and starting a business, and I never went to college for business. I never took business classes, and people laugh at me when I say this, but I listened to J records, and like literally, like, you can learn how to start a business and run a business if you listen to, like, the Dynasty or even that first Blueprint record. It's crazy.
Exactly. Learn how to invest. Like when he says he lays the blueprint, if you know how to listen and decode,
right,
it's all there for you. Like, he's just walking information in his music, and that's what I love about him.
Yeah. Well, what does he say on 444? He's trying to give you $1 million worth of game for $9.99.
Yes.
Right. I mean, he really is. Like, for 20 years, he's been doing.
Even how he broke down, like, I bought a painting for this much, and this many years later it's worth this much. It's like light bulb. Like, yo, what am I doing?
It's crazy.
I'm doing it wrong. Let me take that lesson from Jay and incorporate it in your own way. Like, whatever your thing is, it might not be painting, but it might be like property.
Yeah,
you never know.
Totally. How many songs do you think you've sent Jay?
It's not that many. I've probably sent him 2 or 3.
Okay, so you're picking and choosing.
Oh yeah, no.
Because you hear Jay on them?
Yeah, I have to hear it on him. Like, in the earlier days, it was just like, I just want to work with people. But when I'm creating albums, I don't like to force it. If I don't hear you on it, just because you have a big name, it's not. Because I want the record to really mean something and come out in a certain way. So the person has to fit right. So there were like 3 joints that I heard Jay on. It's like, yo, I don't hear anybody else. Same with Kendrick. Like, if I hit Kendrick, it's like, there's something missing that I can't fulfill. So I need this person or that person. That's how I approach features.
Now, there's a great story, I think, back in the day. Kanye sent Jay the beat for, like, I think it was Soon You'll Understand off Dynasty. Mm-hmm. And he sent it to him, and he wanted, like, kind of like Jay to flex and, like, braggadocious Jay. And then Jay did the whole, like, introspective thing, and it's a great song. But Jay was, like, he jokes, like, he was kind of let down. What kind of Jay would you want on a collab with you and Jay? Would you?
Wow. I want Jay from Marcy Projects. That's the Jay I want. I want Jay, like, on Black Album and Blueprint. Like, just I want to hear him over, like, soulful music too. Like, I think that's when his best. Like how Marcy Me sounds on 444. Like, that was the closest to my favorite feeling of what Jay from Reasonable Doubt and Blueprint and Black Album were. So,
do you have any crazy songs in the vault right now? Like, I know you got the Jermaine collab in the vault. You're talking about that on Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. Is there one that, even if it never makes it out, but it's just crazy that this exists and is out there somewhere?
Me and Buddy have like 2 or 3 songs in the vault. Um, Sometimes I get so many I forget like
Yeah,
who I
right.
did. I think me and Styles P might have one in the vault. It's nothing too crazy though. Like most of the time, if I hit you for a feature, it's coming out. Like I don't like to hold on to those too long. But yeah, me and Buddy though, the records me and Buddy did, I really liked them. Yeah, and they were for this project. But yeah.
You were talking about Just Do before and just advice Kendrick's giving you. Were you surprised that this didn't get nominations this morning with the Grammys?
I can't even front to be a human. Yeah, I was completely
Like
surprised in the
shocked.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely shocked. Like, I'm super honest about my music, like completely honest. And there were past projects. It's like you want to be nominated, but it's like didn't get nominated. I ain't mad at that. Like I understand, but this one, like I honestly thought that we earned that one. At least the recognition. But at the end of the day, I have to tell myself that the people that you touch are the biggest award that you can ever get. So, the critics loved it, the people loved it. So at the end of the day, you keep creating, and see what goes. But yeah, that was a shocker for me.
Yeah. We're going to get to some fan questions right now, actually, from here in New York City. And the first is going to come from over here.
All right. I think I was starstruck when I saw you. I ain't gonna lie.
It's so good.
But I tip my hat off to you.
Thank
and
you.
and I wanna like knowing that you so dope and you got bars. Like I wanna know, when did that path start? Like like whew. Okay. Did it start from I'm talking about like when like where did you actually start your path of the path that you're on right now?
Um, I think, subconsciously that starts, when you're younger and who you listen to. So I was inspired by Lauryn Hill and Jay-Z, the biggest ones, but it's Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Nas, Biggie, Jean Grey. Like these are the artists I'm listening to. Common, Talib Kweli, Mos Def. So in listening to that, you your level of what you want to know as art, that's what I compare myself to. And they are the GOATs to me, the greatest to ever do it. So, that's how I approach the pen. Like, if I can't write something that is next to that, then what am I doing? So subconsciously it starts there with just listening to the music and, that becoming, what I look to. When I started writing, it wasn't until maybe like 2005. Most people like start when they're teenagers or young. I was a late bloomer, but I listened to like a lot of Def Poetry Jam. I read a lot of Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou. So I fell in love with the words and the power of words and how you can use metaphors and similes to take a concept and you could put it in 2 bars and you could talk about that with a whole class. So just being playful with words and coding, like that's where it started for me. So I've always been lyrical. Like that's what Ninth Wonder, the first time he heard the first 2 songs I recorded and was like, "You're a star." That's what he picked up on first, my lyrical ability and wordplay. But I had to fine tune like voice tone and flow and cadence and breath control, those things that make it easy for you to, as a consumer, to consume. But my mom took me to the library early, like 4 or 5. So I've always been in the books and just words. So I think since forever, like just the power of words has always been, my thing.
You know what struck me is you were listing off your inspirations and people you looked up to, and it wasn't just women, it wasn't just men. And I feel like nowadays, female MC, and it's not just in rap, actually. I talk to rock artists, female-led bands. Do you think that superlative, if you will, or that moniker, that preface, is that just totally unnecessary?
I think so. For me,
Yeah.
it was something like I never liked because I felt like it boxed you in. In the beginning, I didn't mind. Like I thought it was dope because there was a time after the 90s where women in hip hop were kind of underrepresented, and to be a female rapper, it didn't. I looked at it as something like, oh, I represent a sector of people who are underrepresented. But to the music business, it pigeonholes you. They don't put your talent or skill level up to the guys. It's like your other than that you see year-end lists, and it's like these are the top 10 female albums of the year. Well, where do you put me in all albums of the year? You don't see that happen. So I started to shine away from it. Where don't call me a female rapper. I'm just an MC at the end of the day. You don't be like you're a female accountant, you're a female teacher. Like this is art. So I definitely think it pigeonholes you, the same way as, oh, this is a white rapper. Like, no, like, base my skill level, who I am, off my art. So, yeah.
You think you get more respect if you were a man, as a male
definitely,
MC?
without a doubt.
Right.
Without a doubt. There's so many barriers and things you have to break. It's like you walk in and you look at me, and most people are like, "Oh, you do R&B," and I'm just like, "Nah," I rhyme, and so because of just who we are as humans and how society is set up, even if it's subconsciously, you already judging somebody just based on how they look, how they dress, how they talk, where they're from, and you're defining how great they are based on that.
Yeah.
And so, that's whether, it's on purpose or, it's something you don't mean to do, it happens. So definitely if I was a man, it'd be like, oh, it's easier for people to even want to pay attention,
Right.
Want to even hear you, respect you. So
I mean, to just illustrate for you at home, if you're not familiar of just how elite of an MC you are. I mean, there are stories where you're on tracks with other MCs and they rewrite their raps because of how good your raps are. Like, you know what I mean? Like Big Crit did that, of course. Is there anybody that you look at and you actually in your heart of hearts you feel like they're a better rapper than you, or do you feel like you're the best out right now?
No, I think I'm one of the best, but Kendrick Lamar, consistently, not just as a MC, but as an artist in creating bodies of work. Because there are artists where you like, okay, we could just sit here and trade verses, and it's like, dang, you dope. But creating a body of work, that's something different. So he's definitely elite. Jay-Z, like. J Electronica, but I feel like we all can inspire each other, but I always like to look at myself as an underdog.
Yeah.
I never like to get comfortable because I always want to be like, I can get better.
Yeah.
So, those are the ones that it's just like, Kendrick, what you about to drop? I love when he's ready to drop an album because it inspires me. All right, let me go create something. So that's
It's exciting every time. Let's get to one final fan question. It'll come from over
Hi
here.
there. I love the concept behind this album, and I was wondering if there were any other role models that you wanted to honor but didn't make the cut.
Yeah, for this one, we had 16 songs make the project. I did 40 songs. There's 40 women. So some that I really wanted to be on it that weren't were like Asada Shakur, Lauryn Hill, Felicia Rashad, Cicely Tyson, Maxine Waters. Let me think, who else did I do? Yeah, those are just some like right off top that I can think of. Yeah.
Will you ever release them?
I'm trying to figure out what to do with those now. If I want to do a deluxe version, if I want to do Eve Part 2, I got a whole new concept. So I don't know, But I think there's one that we released before this album came out for Mother's Day. I released a Felicia record. So that's out in the world. But yeah.
When you were putting these songs together, did they always lead with the woman or the role model, and then you built a song around that, or were there like values of a song or the morals you're speaking of that made you think of somebody?
Yeah, that's what it was. Some people would be like, I wake up today and it's just like, oh, like Felicia. I was like, I know I want to do a song called Felicia, and I know what she represents to me, like her character on Claire, what a black mother represented, to America. That's what I want to talk about, motherly love. And then there were some songs where it was just like, I don't know, whatever the beat makes me feel, I'm gonna write about. Like that happened with Oprah. Like I was just moved by the beat. Me and Eric G were in the studio working, and I think I came up with the hook first. Dollars, dollars circulate. I'm just like, all right, what woman represents wealth and being a boss? It's like there's only one. There's more than one, but there's the one, and that's Oprah. So those are the different ways. But then there would be times like with Ibtihaj. I didn't have a concept. I didn't write it first. But Knife took the Liquid Swords sample, which is the original GZA song, and he flipped it, and he's like, all right, because GZA's song is called Liquid Swords, we just going to call it Ibtihaj because she's the first Muslim American fencer. So we're playing out the swords. So yeah, so we approach it in all kind of creative ways.
Yeah, that's awesome. Guys, one more time for Rapsody.